Leo, welcome to You Can Handle the Truth Tarot. I had to pause for a second because my other podcast name goes through my head sometimes at the same time I'm doing my introduction. Though it throws me off and I'm trying to say both of them at the same time. Anyways, I am your reader and host, KC Phoenix. And let me tell you, there is a lot of good news in this. I need to make that clear. It's just we have to have some tough conversations, hence the title of this channel and podcast, You Can Handle the Truth Tarot. I'm working with 4 decks. I'm working with a wellness deck with a concentration on money, and then I am working with a money deck, and then I'm working with 2 separate tarot decks. Let's go ahead and go into the wellness deck. One of the things that has been brought into focus is your connections, your relationships with people. This is something you really should reconsider because Coffin came out and then you had like, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 cards from this deck. But Coffin came out and Frenemies came out. And what this is talking about is your social circles. There should be an effort, and not saying that you have to become the networking king or queen. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there should be an effort and a little bit more of an openness to building genuine connections with people. Because right now, with this Coffin, is saying that you need to cross your T's and dot your I's when you deal with investing in connections with people or in finances with spending. But one of the things that it had mentioned was the people, places, things. People came to mind because of the frenemies, where you may feel yourself surrounded by people and dealing with people that you don't really trust, but you have to deal with them anyway. And that's sort of what a frenemy is. I know that there might be some deception going on because in the tarot deck, one of the decks, the 7 of Swords came out, which is air energy, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. Some of you might be dealing with those particular air signs, or you may have that in your chart. But this is about not maintaining the status quo. I think that's sort of been the problem with what's going on with things in your life, is maintaining the status quo, keeping things the same, dealing with some things that may be considered toxic just to keep the peace. Also, there's a time to reflect because I have reflection and victimhood. What it says on the reflection card is, I am powerful. What it says on the victimhood card, it says, I am victorious. So I am powerful. I am victorious. These 2 cards coming out together is telling me, remember who you are. The reason I titled this particular reading, Claim Your Fortune, Winners Aren't Victims, is because there are a lot of things waiting on the other side for you, but you are caught up in some connections that do not serve you, where the energy is so strong, it's weighed you down a little bit. And not that it's weighed you down, but in some cases it's drained you, because I do feel there might be some energy vampires around you, where it's people who suck your energy and take up your time, and they take more than they give. And again, the Coffin coming out, where you have to put some things to rest. And the quote on the Coffin card is, I make good investments, whether it's investments in money or investments in people or investments in things. You make good investments. Another card that came out, and what I will do is I'll put this with a second one, It is gratitude and make it rain. What this is telling me is that you have to keep an open mind in order to receive. You have to be grateful in order to receive. On the gratitude card, it says, I am grateful. On the make it rain card, it says, I am open to receive. In order to receive, you have to be grateful for what you have. For some of you, there may have been a lack of gratitude and or a lack of optimism. You are a Leo. The card that represents Leo in the tarot deck, or one of the cards, is the sun. The sun is Leo's ruling planet. The sun is also the happiest card in the tarot deck. We need to see some more of that optimism. We need to see some more of that happiness. We need to see some more of that gratitude. You're not a victim. You're victorious. You're powerful. And at the bottom of the deck, of this particular oracle deck, it says employment change. It says, I release the old and welcome the new, or welcoming the new. You're releasing the old and welcoming the new. There's something in regards to your job that may be changing. I do feel you might get a new job altogether. For others of you, you may just change your position where you're in one department, but then you move to a totally different department. That could very well be the case. Moving to the money oracle deck, the cards that came out is micromanage. Some of that could be going on, micromanaging. You could feel like you're being micromanaged, or that you need to micromanage others and you don't necessarily like doing that. Another card that came out is loan approved. So if there's any type of loan application going on, which makes sense because Jupiter is in your sign, just be careful doing that during Venus retrograde and also Mercury retrograde, because Mercury is retrograding during Scorpio season and Venus is retrograding during Libra season and part of Scorpio season. So just like I said, keep that in mind too. And then the post retrograde goes into Sagittarius season. But if there is a loan that you are looking at, the chances of it being approved are highly likely, especially with Jupiter being in your sign and then also the loan approved card coming out in this reading. The other card that came out is changes. That goes back to the wellness oracle deck saying employment change. There's some type of change that is happening, and it may not just be employment changes. It may be changes with other things. Also, unemployment, this card did come out, but don't worry about it because, again, lots of good energy in this deck. Some of you may be unemployed or unemployment may be happening. Again, I'm emphasizing don't worry about it because the next card that followed it was job offer. There will be a job offer. And this goes back to employment change in the wellness deck again. You have changes in the money oracle deck with a job offer and the unemployment with the job offer. And then also interview is at the bottom of the money oracle deck. So there will be an interview, there will be a job offer. There is some type of employment change happening that will be for the better, because the frenemies thing, that could be at your job or it could be within your community. Maybe you have connections with people in your community and they're sort of frenemies too. There could be some of that. Regardless if it's in your community or on the job, I feel like the change in the job will also change your social circles. And the change in your social circles will help you elevate to a better position with healthier relationships. That is what I'm getting from that part. Now, let's dive into the tarot because I'm loving these cards. The Two of Cups came out in the reverse. What that is telling me is that you are rejecting certain connections where in the Two Cups is water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, where you're just like, you know what, this isn't for me. Following that, and when I was doing the reading, at certain times the cards would just explode onto the table as I'm gathering the energy. Two cards that came out together, the Ace of Pentacles, which aces are new. Aces are usually offers from the universe. Pentacles being Earth energy, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. And in this Monopoly deck, what I love about this, it says starting stable avenue. That's what they call this card. Starting stable avenue. This is a new solid beginning. The way that I know it's solid, the card that came out with the Ace of Pentacles was the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune came out with the Ace of Pentacles. This is letting me know. That's why I said anything about unemployment or toxicity or negativity, it doesn't matter because all of this stuff is changing. You're moving into something that is better for you, a better environment for you, better connections for you, better finances for you is what you're moving into. It's a slow moving energy because the card that followed it is the Knight of Pentacles. Lots of earth energy. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest of the knights, but it brings something that is very stable. Is what you get from the Knight of Pentacles. And the Magician follows it, which is Gemini energy, another major arcana. The Wheel of Fortune is fixed energy. So you could say Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. But the Wheel of Fortune is also Jupiter, which is Sagittarius. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You will have everything you need. That's what this Knight of Pentacles followed by the Magician, that's letting me know you will have everything you need. Bottom of this particular tarot deck is the Two of Wands, letting me know there is travel possibly involved. There is a choice that needs to be made. Fire energy for Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is something that's working out in your favor. For the other tarot deck, I almost see two timelines. One timeline where you're really happy with all of this good energy I just talked about with the Wheel of Fortune, Ace of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Magician, Two of Wands. This particular one, you have the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. I don't know why where two is juggling. When I'm looking at the Seven of Pentacles next to the Seven of Swords, I feel like you have to juggle stuff back and forth to confuse people because they might try to take what you have. So it's almost like you're trying to do an illusion where it's like, oh, yeah, I have it right here, but now it's gone. It's not there anymore. So you can't see it. You can't locate it. I feel like when you're dealing with people, you have to do the 3-card Monty where you're moving stuff around so people don't fully know what you're doing or what you have because you're afraid they might try to take advantage of it if they do. So I feel that Seven of Swords is like a two-way, a sword that cuts both ways, where you may have people around you, your quote unquote frenemies who are trying to take from you. But then on your side, you're Seven of Swords as well, because Seven of Swords isn't just about something negative. Seven of Swords can be about strategy, is what it can be about. And I feel you're strategizing on how to keep people away from your resources and also how to increase yours. And some things you're doing in secret because the High Priestess is out in this particular setup, Pisces energy. And two cards is kind of interesting that came out, the Knight of Wands, which can again be travel. Some of you might be doing some traveling. Some of you might receive a offer for a job that's in another city, maybe even another state or country, is what I'm getting. The Five of Pentacles is here. That can be training, but also it can be conflict. I do feel you're moving away from the conflict because the Knight plus the 5 is 6, which 6 of Wands is a victory card. You having victory over the situation. Bottom of the deck is the 5 of Cups. you having victory over that, where you're not staying hung up in this energy, water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, where you're not focusing on what once was. Again, the victimhood and reflection, you're a winner. Winners are not victims. The Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the Magician. This is telling me that there's forward movement here. And actually, that's what's on the Two of Wands at the bottom of the deck for this one on the Monopoly deck. It says forward movement gardens. This is the energy of moving forward. And this is why changes, it's almost like, and especially with Jupiter having moved into your sign, change is pretty much inevitable, because you can't stay in the old energy that you've been in and expand to something better and more suiting for you. Something has to change. In Jupiter, the energy of Jupiter is forcing this change, where it's like, you know what, it's time. It's time to move on to bigger and better things. You deserve better. The Wheel of Fortune is here. You don't need to be in this Five of Cups energy. You shouldn't feel like you always have to be on guard with people. That isn't a way to live. And I'm not saying don't be mindful of your interactions, your connections. What I am saying is there should be at least one or two or three people in your social circle where you can be completely unguarded with them, where you know you don't have to strategize on how to keep them at arm's length. You need people where you can bring them into your circle with open arms, people you can trust. And I honestly believe the changes that are coming, they're setting you up to be the bridge to those connections that better suit you. You just have to be open and accept it. So you have to claim your fortune in what is yours. And remember that winners are not victims. And Leo, that is your message. That is your money message. If you reached it this far, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, be blessed.